Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Mystic Destinies. I feel like being overly dramatic when I say that, so. Anyway, we are on chapter 11. I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep yawning, but anyway. So yeah. Without thinking about it, my feet took me to the one place I had been avoiding. The pier where Sho and I were last able to have a happy moment. I gripped the pier's railing, my knuckles white. Despite my reaffirming my decision, the fear still hasn't left me. There's too many emotions and so much terror. I can't handle it, and I start to hyperventilate. He said he'd stab me over and over. He said I couldn't die. Oh, God, help me. The thoughts churn over and over in my mind, but as I watch the setting sun over the lake, a strange thing happens. I start thinking of Sho. I'd managed to repress all my thoughts up to this point, but now it feels as if I've lost control and everything is leaking out. I repressed them up till this point. No, you haven't. You think about them every other sentence. I don't blame you, but I'm just saying. I think of his smile, that adorable pouty face, his overly emotive text messages, how he always tried his best to be cheerful. All the random touches I never knew when to expect, and how he worked so hard to better himself so he could help me. I sink down to my knees, quietly sobbing. I feel like my heart is broken. Sho, you idiot. Why did you have to push me out of the way? I'm supposed to be immortal. I would have been fine. I'm the one who's not even a real person. Your life means more to me than mine, so don't say that. His words ring clear in my head, and I clutch my chest as a sob rips forth. I lean into the railing like we did on that night, and the memory starts my crying anew. Flashes of Sho's death dance in my mind, intermixed with everything I loved about him. His last words keep repeating in my head. A sharp pain tears through me every time I wonder what it was that he didn't get a chance to say. It's like my mind is deliberately trying to torture me. The minutes pass by slowly as I cry out everything I've been holding back, watching the sun sink into the horizon. Feels like I'm saying goodbye to Sho. When night falls, my tears have all been cried out. I feel empty, like I'll never have any more tears again. As I sit there listless, my mind drifts to a strange topic. I find myself thinking of my mother, and the only father I've ever known. Shizuka and Rokuro. When I think about it now, I do really think she loved him. The way they looked at each other. It was the sort of love that can't be faked. In my memories, the only time Shizuka always seemed like she was truly smiling was with Rokuro. Rokuro. Sounds like something Scooby-Doo would say. I'm sure I'm bastardizing that and just saying it totally completely wrong, so I apologize. I don't think she realized it, but those were the only times I saw her emotions slip. Her love for Rokuro, I can't say it. It's too many I just can't. Rokuro was so great, she simply couldn't hide it. Is this why you did what you did? So you didn't have to watch him grow old and die, being unable to join him in the afterlife? Is that why you were sorry at the end? Because you felt like you had no other choice? You had to do something, anything, just so you could be with him fully? In that moment, I feel like for the first time I truly understand Shizuka, my mother. Right now, there's nothing I wouldn't do just to be with Sho. There's nothing I wouldn't give to be able to bring him back. In this strange world where anything's possible, could I do that? Is death something anyone has conquered? I mean, he's a pile of ash, so I'm not... If so, how do I do it? How do I bring him back? I sigh and I wish that I had someone to ask, like Hikaru or even Shinji. Shinji seems to know a lot of things, maybe even obscure things. They were best friends. If it's possible to create a life, why couldn't one be resurrected? Maybe Shinji would help me bring him back. If I survive this, whatever Julius is going to do, if enough of me is left, if I'll find some way, even if for one moment longer. I want to see you just for one moment longer. even if it's just to say goodbye. Leaning against the railing, I closed my eyes and dripped off, never realizing that I'd started to cry again. So I just passed out on the dock. With a start, I wake up to sunlight streaming through the stained glass of the ballroom. What the hell? Desperately, I try to think back to the last thing I remember. I was at the pier and I fell asleep. So why am I in the middle of the room here? I try to move, but quickly realize I'm bound by chains to a chair. Fear moves through my body in waves, but after a brief look around, I confirm that Julius is nowhere to be seen. I notice that the damage that was done to the ballroom seems to have been repaired in just days. Did Julius do something to mess with my perception of time? Could he even do something like that? Remembering the incident in Show's room, I wonder if fixers were the ones who did it. Even though I know it's futile, I try to pull my hands and feet out of my bindings. What's the point of even trying anyway when Julius will just hurt everyone else? Still, when I hear the sound of footsteps, my heart feels like it sinks into my stomach. Even though I can't turn around, I already know who it is. Julius soon comes into view. He's holding an old-looking, intricately carved box in one hand and some sort of jar in the other, though I can't see what's in it. He sets it on a gold leaf and glass table that's placed near where I'm sitting. That was gold leaf and glass table where I am sitting. Sorry. Yuli stands in front of it so that I can't get a better look at the items. He just stares at me, vaguely smiling about I don't know what. Time seems to almost slow down under his gaze, but I refuse to let him see me snap. You're already snapped. There's a million questions I could ask him, a million things I could yell and scream. I could cry and beg, but none of it seems like the appropriate answer. In the end, I know it's just going to be a waste. I stare back at Julius quietly instead. A number of emotions run through me. Fear, frustration, helplessness, and despair most of all. I'm a mess, I know, but he may have won. He got me just like he wanted, but that doesn't mean I'll let this asshole see me cry. He's already seen it enough anyway. Unable to control anything else about the situation, I make this one last vow. No matter what happens, I will not cry. Instead, I'll try to glare at Julius with as much anger and hatred as I can muster. You go, girl. Seeing my expression, Julius chuckles in amusement. He moves closer and leans down so that his face is right in front of mine. Hate me all you like, little butterfly. It won't change a thing. Such a jerk. My face doesn't change, though, and Julius walks back to the table. With his back to me so that I can't see, he begins to take things out of the box he brought. My fear has come to a boiling point, and I really, finally let go of the last remaining hope that I had. This is it. This is the end, let come what may. I start to stare at the mural on the ceiling, and I'm again reminded of Shao. I'll just focus on the thought of him from now until the end. But then Julius begins to speak, looking back over his shoulder. I'm going to enjoy this little game. I wonder if I can top my old mistress. I'm horrified when I think about precisely what he might mean. What do you mean? I'm wondering if that's her mother maybe was his old mistress and she abused him and that's why he's doing it to her. But it's like, hi, I'm not her. That's not, like, that's, you're a jerk. Are you talking about the empress you were given to? Yuli stops what he's doing and turns around completely. Well, it seems the little butterfly was listening after all. So you want to know? Why the hell not? Well, why not? It's been so long since I could talk to anyone about it. Yes, my own parents gave me to Empress Laurentia as thanks on behalf of Phoenix kind. I was a pretty decoration for her. Owning an exquisite creature like me seemed to be proof for her that her power was above all. That's called slavery. It's not right. When I grew older, I became even more beautiful, so the Empress took me as her lover. Oh, inappropriate. That's even worse. That is sex slavery and rape. I was her favorite pet, tutored in the ways of the imperial court. As her most precious toy, I was taught all the things that the Empress's first lover should know. Her first? I doubt that, but anyway, it's usually the men folk in the court that do that to the women, so you know what? Deal with it. Sorry. No one should deal with that. It's wrong. It's wrong in every shape or form, but it doesn't mean I have to feel sorry for him, because he's still a jerk. I feel bad for the young you who has done it, but that doesn't give you any reason to turn into a murderous douche. One day, as is apt to happen to so many, Laurentia was betrayed and murdered. A new empress took her throne, and so I was passed to Empress Mariana, a vile woman who enjoyed breaking her toys. Breaking? That's right. Mariana was extraordinarily twisted and decided to test for herself the notion that phoenixes could be reborn. That was her favorite pastime, trying different ways to torture and kill me. Julius's eyes become distant, and I feel sick to my stomach. I can't help but feel some pity for this beautiful, twisted man who must have experienced horrors beyond my imagination. Yeah, that does kind of suck, but again, you're turning around and doing it to somebody else. Wrong. But the thought that he intended to perpetrate them upon me to try and top what she'd done to him was quite sobering. I eventually killed her and escaped. That Julius says this so casually only increases my fear. It was around that time that other phoenixes started losing their ability to resurrect. Julius laughs. There were plenty of deaths around that time. It was before those fools realized they could no longer treat life as something trivial. But I've talked about myself enough. It's time to get started. Joe, you did it to them. This is all your fault. You've destroyed them by, murdering that lady for some reason. I don't know why, but whatever. I have plans for the future. Plans to get those pompous, golden morons to realize they haven't been true phoenixes for many centuries. My kind aren't some corrupted trash to be treated as worthless, or some plague on the otherwise perfect phoenix society. Julius finishes his little tirade with such vitriol that I'm actually surprised. I can see that he really cares about this, but it doesn't mean what he's doing is right. Julius seems to have realized his slip. He takes in a deep breath and carefully schools his expression. He takes a step back and takes something off the table. For the first time, I can see what's on it. My eyes are immediately drawn to the large glass jar that looks like it's filled with gold and black dust. My heart stops. I see you notice the urn. He slowly runs his finger around the edges of the lid. I can't speak. An unsettling feeling spreads through me. I'm sure you missed your darling little phoenix, so I thought he could join us. The blood in my veins runs cold. I look back and forth from Julius to the urn. No, 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 no. Julius looks so pleased with himself. But I feel hot and cold at the same time. Like I'm going to vomit. Oh, please, just vomit on his shoes. It would be so great. It would just be so great. Oh, you seem bothered. Maybe I should just toss these out. Or shall I use it to fertilize the garden? I'm shaking, but my panic is starting to turn into pure rage with every word. You're disgusting. Leave Show's remains alone, you asshole. Haven't you done enough to him? Just let him rest in peace. I struggle against my bindings, wanting to wrap my hands around his throat. But the angrier I get, the happier Julius seems. He takes an old-looking golden brooch that's set with diamonds and a large heart-shaped garnet and places it over my heart. This is called the bleeding heart. Almost at the same time as he says that, I feel a sharp pain. I gasp, not expecting it. I look down and see that the brooch seems to have attached itself to my skin. The garnet starts to faintly glow. This will be what collects your powers. When it's done, I'll take it off. If you're fortunate enough to survive the process, then you'll be free to do whatever you like. Julius then picks up an ancient-looking bronze dagger. The blade and crossguard are made from bronze, and the handle seems to be made from some sort of bone. The pommel has a garnet set into it, and the garnet in the dagger is identical in color to the garnet in the brooch. They appear to make a pair. It took a while for Seven to find another one. These daggers are very rare nowadays. Ulysses' voice is clinical and detached as he examines the dagger. Then he roughly grabs my bound arms and places the dagger alongside the under part of my forearm. He casually drags the dagger along my arm, leaving behind a trail of blood. Sorry, I have to itch my head. This is the music. The la 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 is so, I don't know, it's just so weird. I wince, but gasp when the skin heals over. Oh, how curious. I didn't know it was going to do that. Drawing it again, Julius takes me by surprise with the dagger. This time, he makes a much deeper cut. I gasp from the pain, but I refuse to cry out. Julius continues his attacks on different parts of my body, satisfying some strange, morbid curiosity. I grit my teeth as Julius continues with the dagger, keeping Sho's face in my mind the entire time. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice something's changed about the jar. The ashes have turned from gold to black. I realize Julius has stopped for a moment and appears to be thinking. I wonder, what would happen if I tried it on your eyes? I swallow hard, unable to hide the terror on my face. I'd be like, could you just not... I mean, for God's sakes, like, look, you're gouging my body, but could you at least leave my eyes so that if I survive, that I can see? You dick. He slowly brings the dagger closer to my face, and complete panic takes me over. I'm completely frozen as the bloody blade inches closer and closer to my eye. Oh my. That part was really short. Huh! Well, we are going to wrap this part up here, because I'm going to keep these one chapter per part. So this was a short part. Who knows? The next part on Dark Wings. Oh! He's going to rise as a Dark Phoenix. I actually think that is one of the endings for Sho, is that he becomes a Dark Phoenix. I'm not sure if that's like a good ending or a bad ending. I don't really know. But we'll find out. So I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.